Whoa, that was rude. Well, I need this time to pick my ass and scratch my nuts, eat my boogers. No, no, let's do it again. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Gosh, man, it's been 1 week. You're thinking about the song. No, it's been 1 week since I've returned. Right? Yeah, it felt like a while. Um, yeah, don't mind the sniffles. It's just my allergies. Just I don't know what it is. It is. It's annoying. It just started. Like it's not like I've been like this. It just the second I placed this down and I sat down, I hit record. Just. But anyway, so things have happened. Yes, Father's Day happened, and you can see little right there. Okay. But also, I was in LA for a couple of days. I was in LA when the war zone was happening out there. Tons of choppers and smoke and fire. Um, my little family and I, we were inside of a burning vehicle. Everyone was just just throwing cans at us and throwing things, and just it was insane. Um, I'm full of shit, of course, because LA was actually just LA. It was still the shit pile that is LA. Los Angeles isn't. It's just getting worse. However, didn't stay the nights in Los Angeles per se. I was in Venice. I went to the Santa Monica Pier. Had a great time. Great weather. Good food. All that stuff. You know, McDonald's breakfast. No, but I had a great time, and I also learned a lot. It was a very much needed trip, and you can learn a lot about things, and about people and all that stuff. And it was awesome. It was definitely what I needed, and it was also first time for a lot of things for me. So I enjoyed that. So, but now I'm back. I'm here. I'm here to talk about things. Things have been talked about, and I'm here to talk about those things. So let's get started. So with everything that's been happening surrounding this, Superman, I know that there's a lot of super talk happening because this movie is coming out. The hype is huge. The marketing is insane. Um, this is a movie that I feel like the marketing and the hype surrounding this film is very reminiscent to me to like a Batman film when I was a kid. Batman Forever is a good example. And it's like the first time I consciously understood what Batmania was all about. And Batmania was stemmed from 1989's Batman film when this movie was like the biggest thing on the planet. There hasn't been a Batman movie ever, at least as far as a full length feature film like Tim Burton's. So when that movie came out, everyone's knowledge of Batman for the most part was the Adam West television series. So going into that and knowing that Tim Burton's making it, the vibe, the gothic look feel of Batman, it felt very justified for a lot of Batman fans at the time. So for me, that was 1995's Batman Forever. And I remember Batman Forever, which just had its 30th anniversary the other day. So I do feel like this is actually appropriate to talk about and to kind of veer off into before I get into my initial point and the Rolling Stone article that James Gunn completely kind of actually made himself look like a fool. Just a little bit, but we'll get into that in just a minute. But Batman Forever just had its 30th anniversary, and Batman Forever to me has always been the movie that's been I've been like always wishy-washy with it. There's times where I really enjoy the movie, and then there's times where I think about the film and I completely dislike the movie altogether. Um, I haven't had that feeling in a long time. I enjoy this movie for what it is. It's not the greatest Batman film by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a fun film to watch. It's not the most comic accurate Batman, but it's damn near close to what the soul of the character is and what the comic is and all of that stuff. You have to understand Batman Forever came out after Batman Returns. Batman Returns is a very, very, very Tim Burton film. It's a gothic film, dude. There's lots of fucking just black whites and old. it's very like Nightmare Before Christmas ish, and you just throw in Batman, and that's your film. Danny Elfman's music was just very loud. It's an awesome score. It's a beautiful score. I think that that soundtrack, the music alone, is the best thing out of that film. A lot of folks will argue and say it is the best Batman live action film because it's very close to what Batman is and all of that stuff. For me, okay, my Batman is the animated series. That is my source, my go-to, my blueprint. That is not Batman Returns. Batman Returns is a Tim Burton movie. I did not really enjoy Batman Returns as I grew up. As I grew older, I figured, well, this movie's really not a Batman story to me. However, I will say, on a technical standpoint, it is a better edited film than 1989's Batman. Just the pacing and all of those things on the technical level, as far as effects goes and all of that stuff. You can also argue and say that they had more money thrown at Tim Burton for making the sequel because of the success of the first film. So there was a little bit more money to spend for effects and all that stuff. However, as a story, it's shit. And I did not enjoy the penguin slaughtering kids and all of that stuff. So not because it's like sensitive, it's just dumb. It was just stupid. It was like that's your whole that's your motive, my man. Okay, got it. Very lame. So now we've got Batman Forever, which has just had its anniversary just the other day, as I mentioned a couple of times. But Val Kilmer just recently passed away. So, with all of that, my appreciation level for this film has elevated because there is a film with an actor who I absolutely love, who's not here with us anymore. And I always forget that he's in this movie, that he's in a Batman film. It's weird. It used to be the opposite because Val Kilmer, to me, I've grown to appreciate him as an actor, as an artist. As I got older, I've watched more of his films. I even watched his bad films, such as Twixt and just all of these movies that he has done that were very much overlooked because they weren't theatrical releases. But out of a terrible movie, he's always the best thing that is in that movie. He just shines. He's a great actor. He gives a shit about his craft. So, watching that documentary, Val, my appreciation amplified even more for this man. So, watching Batman Forever, just him being in it elevates this film. I can't really explain why. I can't find the words. I can just tell you the feeling. And Two Face is terrible. Two Face is like the worst thing in that entire film. Yet you have Tommy Lee Jones playing that character, and he's a brilliant actor, just wrong for the part. Jim Carrey at the time was playing the Riddler, and he was coming off the success of Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, You Live in Color, all of this stuff. So he was pretty much the hot shot comedian at the time. He was also the actor that everyone was going to for roles like this. And I think with Batman, it worked for that type of movie, for the script that was this particular script. Um, I even think I would go as far as to think that this man, Jim Carrey, he's a great actor. This man can do drama. He can be scary. I honestly think he would have surpassed what uh, I forgot his name, but the guy who played the Riddler in the Batman in Matt Reeves' version. If you would have had Jim Carrey play that version of the Riddler, I think we would have gotten something so much better as far as a performance. And also, Jim Carrey's very creative, so he can kind of also create something that would probably influence Matt Reeves' uh, decisions about the character, things like that. So I don't see Paul Dano. That's the actor's name. I don't see Paul Dano really he's just a company. He's a yes man. All right, just give me the script. I'll do what you want. Jim Carrey, he challenges, but in a very good way, in a professional way. So I don't know. I think he would have brought more to that role. However, back to Batman Forever, you've got Nicole Kidman in the film as Dr. Chase Meridian. You've got Chris O'Donnell off the heels of the Three Musketeers film, which I think is, till this day, it's the best Three Musketeers movie ever made, with Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, Oliver Platt, Chris O'Donnell's D'Artagnan. You even had the Doctor, the Eighth Doctor, play. He was in the film. You had all of these elements that worked in that movie. I Love that film. Chris O'Donnell plays Robin, and I thought at the time Chris O'Donnell, I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. He looks young. He's the part, all that stuff." Getting older, I realize how kind of dumb it is to have an older Dick Grayson. Um, in this, I get why they did it because they wanted to throw in Robin by the end of this movie. But honestly, Chris O'Donnell, he does come off as a great Dick Grayson. I think if they would have taken its time, like to start off as him as a kid, back in the day, show him as a kid doing the Flying Graysons, all that stuff, would have made more sense that Dick Grayson was kind of on his own by the time he was probably 20, 19 year olds, 20 years old. And he finds Bruce Wayne in this film. Bruce Wayne takes him in because he's a lost soul and just kind of worked that way. And instead, they just made him look like this 20-year-old who just doesn't have a choice. It's like, dude, he's clearly an adult. He could just go off on his own. Why does he need a guardian? Just didn't. It was weird, but it was weird. It's weird, but it's it's just it's Batman Forever for you. Um, there's rumors that there is a Schumacher cut. Now, I believe that there is a cut of some sorts, but I don't think there's an official one. They just tried to have a screening, supposedly, I think like almost a month ago, but that shit got shot down by Warner Brothers, throwing lawsuits saying like, "Hey, this isn't yours to even show." Kevin Smith wanted to tell people like, "Hey, there's a cut out there that he saw," but from the description of that screening, the screening that Kevin Smith talked about with the score of Danny Elfman's, all that, I don't like what I hear about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is gonna be the best version of Batman Forever. It's gonna be serious. It's gonna be dark. It's gonna be like Dark Knight." No, it's not because it's still the same movie. So you still have Tommy Lee Jones in it. You still have those dumb elements in the film. You can't really take that away. If you take any of those things away, you have half of a movie. Unfortunately, I wish that was the case. I wish you could just kind of remove that element and it would just be better, but it's not. So there is no cut. There is no official cut. There is as much of a cut as much as I could just take the footage, go take the DVD, go through the deleted scenes, take that, place that into the film somewhere, use my editing skills to like re-edit the music, all that stuff. I could do that. It would take me a lot of time, probably a month or so, maybe a little bit more. I don't see it going on past 2 months, but give me 2 months. I can make a Schumacher cut, motherfucker. Okay, that um, I'm not sure we will ever see that version. And honestly, I don't care. I used to care. A couple of years ago when it was announced, I thought it was a fascinating idea to really showcase that giant man bat scene that everyone talks about, but we all seen the deleted scene section on the DVD. That's pretty much it. Does it make the movie different? Not really. It's just a different version of it. Think of it as this. If any of you own X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue cut, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's cool. It's great to watch. But does it add anything different? No, not really. It's still the same movie. That's what the Schumacher cut would be. So, would I watch it? Yeah, I would watch it out of curiosity to see if there's any different edits, different cuts. Maybe there are shots, things in it that are not in the DVD deleted scene section. Maybe there's things that are in the Warner Brothers archive that they put away that we have never seen a single frame of. So who knows? I would always be curious to see a different cut of a film, but it's really weird when the director is no longer here. He's been gone for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden a Schumacher cut is just being talked about. And even if it was being talked about while Schumacher was still on this planet, um, didn't seem like the dude didn't want to go through with it because it wasn't even a thing until he passed away. Then people started talking about it, which is again pretty strange, pretty weird, sketch city, if you ask me. But um, either way, Batman Forever. It's a movie that I will always cherish in my heart with good memories as a kid. Living through that whole hype was just fun. It'll never happen again. It did happen again, but not on that same level. And it's much more special when you're a 9-year-old child because it's fucking Batman. And this is happening. Disney Adventures released a little when they had their monthly issues of their Disney stuff, and Disney Mattered. They had a cover of Batman in his prototype outfit. And I remember looking at that, asking my mom if I could get this. Is at the supermarket. I remember I took that shit with me to school so I can read it and look at the new pictures, all that stuff. That was like the first time I actually ever gave a shit about a movie coming out and reading the articles, getting what the quotes mean in the articles, like, oh, this is what Val Kilmer said. This is what Tommy Lee Jones was saying. This is what Jim Carrey was saying. So you kind of learn as you go too. So it's just yeah, the trailers, every trailer, every commercial I can get my hands on, the toys, all of that stuff, seeing the film in the theater and plugging my fucking ears because the DTS digital sound was brand new for a child back in 95. Yeah, that was awesome. There was a lot of firsts in that era of film. Being a moviegoer as a 9-year-old child then. It was great, man. It was a great time. A great time. And I think it also like it opened up a door for me to be insightful on like newer films and all of this stuff. I think Batman Forever around that time I was always intrigued by filmmaking, but I think because of how visually fantastic, Batman Forever was and how loud it was and just all of those things put together about a character that I absolutely love and I hold, near and dear to my heart. It opened up that door in my brain where I was like, I want to know more about this shit. Like filmmaking is fun. It's great. And then you want to watch other movies, and you want to watch trailers, then you want to study shots and all of these things. But there's nobody in elementary school that really shares that exact same passion. I don't know. It's just doors open in your brain, and it just kind of just start flowing things. I don't know. I'm just fucking weird like that. I guess I don't know, but it doesn't happen to a lot of people. But I like to believe it does. Um, Batman Forever was it was a great experience. The movie wasn't all that great, but it is one of my favorite Batman films to watch. It is a movie that I will watch over and over again. It's a movie that I understand it has flaws, but I don't care. It's just fun. It's Batman. It's a comic book film. You're going into a comic book world. Um, you just have a great time and you roll with it. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and honestly it just has a great soundtrack too. The score from Elliot Goldenthal is great. I love the Batman score, which is another thing why I think the Schumacher cut sounds kind of lame. If you're going to replace the score with Danny Elfman's Batman and Batman Returns score, it seems like you're trying to like just kind of sweep some art under the rug, and kind of replace it because some fan thought it was cool. I think that Elliot Goldenthal, if anything, if there is going to be a Schumacher cut, he should come back into the studio, re-record the entire score today, and if you want, add some new stuff to it, man. If there's going to be that man bat scene, that famous man bat scene, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you guys can Google it. Type in Batman Forever, man bat scene. That's it. Man bat, Batman Forever, right? It's easy, right? You just Google that shit, open the tab, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. While you're watching this, of course. But it's really cool. It's interesting. It's creepy. It's really creepy. If you put that scene of Batman Forever, it honestly it would tonally change for just like 4 minutes. It's really creepy. You add in the effects, the sound effects, all that stuff. You can really make something cool, but don't erase anything from that film that's already in there. Um, Despite whether you like the movie or not, you don't really erase anything. You add on stuff, and you add on stuff, and sometimes those things can kind of change the tone of a film. But I think in this case, it wouldn't change anything. It would just be really cool to look at as a fan. And like I said, if Elliot Goldenthal is going to have any change in his music, go rescore the entire film and add new stuff to it. Add new stuff. I think fans would be great. Don't know if WB wants to spend the money on that though. So considering that there's rumors that Sony will buy Warner Brothers. There's a lot of complications with that. You guys can look that up. I think I could probably check that out with you guys here in a little bit. But there are rumors of that. So I don't know if WB is in the position of really just kind of throw money, to do stuff like that right now at the moment. Warner Brothers is really, really stupid when it comes to decision making in their studios, or in their productions. But with David Zaslav coming out recently saying, "Well, let's just scrap everything James Gunn is doing and let's just focus on the primaries here: Superman, Batman, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman." I mean, talk about knowing what the Justice League is without telling us, who the Justice League are. I mean, like, I get it. You want your mains, okay, to bring in the money. But here's the problem with Warner Brothers, James Gunn, um, the thing about universes, okay. What people don't understand, a lot of people today don't understand. What a lot of people don't understand today is that the success of Iron Man um, was a lightning in a bottle incident. Okay. When Paramount, let's remember Paramount was in charge of these films for a time. Okay. When Paramount released Iron Man in 2008, this wasn't a movie that was setting up a universe. It wasn't. It wasn't. There are people out there that will throw that out there saying, well, they were setting up this. No, they weren't. Okay. That's why I think today it's really annoying the way they are making superhero films right now. There was a time where we all wanted to see the characters all under one roof. We've gotten that in the most successful fashion for a good 10 years. Okay. With the Avengers, the MCU, all that stuff. When someone tries to emulate it, after those 10 years, it comes off desperate. It comes off very desperate and lazy. It's creative bankruptcy, is what it is. And so when Iron Man made its one movie, and that's why it was so good, is because it was focusing on that story. It wasn't worrying about setting up things or tying up a storyline or anything like that. It was its own film. It had a beginning, middle, and an end. 3-act play. Let's go. Tony Stark kicking ass. Boom. I'm Iron Man. Movie's done. Done deal. They didn't make a sequel. Oh well. If they didn't make the Avengers, oh well. It was a great one and done film, and we move on. That is how you know a movie can carry itself to the test of time. Iron Man does that. Now James Gunn is trying to do that with Superman, a character I absolutely adore. I Superman is my favorite superhero. Aside from Batman, Batman is they're just always one or two or one. They are neck and neck for me. They are the titans of the superheroes. Okay, Superman is not a fucking hard character to write, despite what a lot of people in Hollywood say. Hollywood, okay, you have a lot of comic artists, comic writers, uh, fans like myself, people who read this shit. We look at Superman and he is the easiest character to write. Now, I'm not saying easy like, oh, he's such a like he's such a black and white character. No, there's layers to this character, but he's not a hard character to figure out. So when I hear people in Hollywood, screenwriters, producers, all this stuff, anyone associated with Hollywood, okay, saying Superman, he's a hard character to crack. Fuck you. He is not. You're not a fan. You're obviously not a fan. You know what you're a fan of? You're a fan of Richard Donner's Superman. And you know that there are Superman comics, but you don't want to do the reading because it's just so hard. You know, Brainiac. I don't want to know about that. It's probably complicated. It's probably layers of things that I'll get lost in the game. So I just want to just do Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is a guy who is evil. He hates Superman. He's easy to write. He's a safe choice. Boom, go. These people in Hollywood do not understand Superman. Now, I will give credit where credit's due. Okay, Superman and Lois, the TV series. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good, and it's light years better than everything that we've gotten. Yes, and I'm talking about the Henry Cavill shit too. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I enjoyed Batman v Superman. Yes, I'm one of those. I enjoyed Justice League, the Zack Snyder Justice League. Don't care for the Justice version. Um, I enjoyed Man of Steel. I enjoy a lot of the Zack Snyder DC stuff. Okay, I think what he was trying to do, his version, his vision, great, fine. Okay, but when it comes to Superman, okay, that show got it. Smallville got it. Um, you've got writers who understood the character throughout media. You know, sure, it wasn't like the greatest Superman, like Lois and Clark. It was fun to watch. Are they the be all end all of Superman stories? Fuck no, they're not. A lot of them are cheese ball, uh, just just wonky, stories, but they were still enjoyable because they get Superman. They get the spirit of the guy. He's not hard to write. He's not hard to crack. So when you got people like executives talking about this character, acting like, man, this is like fucking Chinese algebra, man. I don't. This is going to be hard. Y'all are not fans. Stop calling yourself fans. Okay, stop calling yourself fans. Um, this was a character that I think also that as I grew older, I started reading more about. I thought I knew everything about Superman when I was a kid. I didn't. I knew the basics of him. But as you get older and you start to do your own homework, you do your own research, you do your own, you know, like who is the character that I absolutely idolize? I want to know more about him. Boom, this is what you get. And it becomes an addiction that you start to kind of learn more of these characters, not just Superman, but Batman and DC. And I love DC stuff a little bit more than Marvel when it comes to comic books, the history, all of that stuff. Um, so when it comes to James Gunn's Superman, which I have been very cautiously optimistic about, a lot of people will sit there and tell me, and I've gotten this, which it doesn't bother me. Um, it's just funny because I get that people are excited about Superman coming out. I get that people are excited about any movie coming out about a character that they absolutely love. You're going to get excited for. I want to be excited for this film. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit more excited for this movie than I was about a month ago, but I'm still a little cautiously optimistic. And I'll tell you why. This Rolling Stone article that James Gunn put out has, I mean, look, as I go through this here, I'm going to tell you right now. Uh, James Gunn is somebody that I really had no thought about, no opinion about. Um, Even when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I said this movie was directed well. It's fine. It's it's not. It wasn't like the greatest sci-fi film I'd ever watched at the time. Everyone was like, "This movie is it's amazing," and it was pretty damn good. I'll give it that. The idea of Guardians of the Galaxy was brilliant, and I can't deny that. Can't take anything away from that. It was brilliant. The idea of it, Rocket, Star Lord, all of those characters. Um, it was well directed, but it was something that I felt like it was like a one and done, type of thing, and I was fine with it. I said, well, they're not gonna, kind of respark that magic, again, even if you have the same director. And I was right. Because Volume 2 for me was good, but it wasn't great. Th- there are things in it that I absolutely love, but as a whole, I couldn't connect with it too much. Um, then the third film, it's fine. They tried to tug your heartstrings, with Teeths and all of them. Teeths wanted to look at the sky, all that shit. I get it. It was still good. It was still good, but nothing will ever, ever be as great as that first film. So ever since then, James Gunn has been like deified as like this, like, oh man, he's the man to do it. I think he's the safe choice. This was also the same guy, and it's on record. You can look it up. Don't roll your eyes after I say this and go, "Okay, Josh, that's no, it's right. It's on fucking YouTube. It's on TikTok. It's everywhere." This is the guy who also said that The Flash is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. That's the director of the new Superman movie, guys. And so let's check out this article from Rolling Stone, which I said I was going to talk about. So let's talk about it. Um, there's a lot to unpack here, okay, and it's a lot of stupid. Um, a lot of stupid. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's get started. But before I do, let me go get something here real quick. While I put on the screen. God, I sound like I'm doing something wrong. Just give me a second here, okay? All right, because I can't do this without my handy dandy water bottle. Okay, there we go. I had to pull this out from the thing, and I had to do the screen thing to make it look like I just magically had a water bottle appear in my hand, like a pretentious cocksucker YouTuber. Anyway, okay, let's get started with this, okay? All right, because like I said, a lot of there's a lot to unpack here. A lot of dumb to unpack here. Superman director James Gunn. You don't want everyone to root for you. All right. So, right off the bat, that's a very pretentious director of the Last Jedi type of talk from any director. Um, and it's also a quote that, and it's not just like I just read this and I'm coming up with thoughts. I've read this article already before, which is why I said there's a lot of dumb to unpack here. Um, you want people to root for you, especially when you're a director like James Gunn and your resume. He directed The Suicide Squad, which was the second Suicide Squad, coming off the heels of the first film from David Ayer, which was directed. Let's be honest, for those of you that know the story about that film, it was directed by Warner Brothers. It wasn't directed by David Ayer. David Ayer got fucked over. His name is in the credits, but that's not his. That's not the film he wanted to make. That was a movie made by a corporation, and they butchered his vision, and that's the movie that we got that you see on HBO and all that stuff. Anyway, where was I before I just veered off into? Oh yeah, um, you want people to root for you, okay? As a director, if you know that your project is going to suck, or if you're nervous about it and you know you've got no confidence whatsoever, that's a quote that you want to throw out there to kind of give subtle heads up so that way months, maybe a year or two later down the road, when they talk about your failure of a fucking movie, you could sit there and go, well, I did say, you don't want everyone to root for you. It's one of those things. I've been alive long enough. I'm fucking dead. I can't even talk. I've been alive long enough to understand um, corporate speak amongst directors and filmmakers. A lot of things that a lot of people won't ever want to mention, unless you want like, free access to like the movie's premiere or some shit because you think the filmmakers are gonna fucking listen to your podcast or something. Anyway, DC Studios co-CEO goes deep on his high-stakes take on the Man of Steel, the future of his new DC universe, and how getting fired helped him feel loved. All right. Let's do this, folks. Okay. If I can get my fucking internet. There we go. So, hold on. Let me drink my vodka here for a second. All right. It's not hard to find James Gunn's office on the Warner Brothers lot. A huge glowing Superman S symbol beacons from an entrance wall, visible through a glass door from yards away. You sure it's not a big old giant J uh, on that? Gunn, 58, in his third year as co CEO of the company's newly created DC Studios, sharing the title and office with Peter Safran, who handles the business side of the operation. Together, they're creating a new superhero universe around some very old characters, aiming to finally make Superman and Friends and Family and Flying Pet truly competitive with the currently shaky Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's funny, they call it shaky now because Rolling Stone and all these other media outlets were very scared to call the MCU a failure of some kind. Um, have times changed, right? People like me have called it a failure since fucking 5 years ago, and people called me asshole, douchebag, hater. Hater is the biggest one. Negative Nancy, all of that stuff, right? And those are the same people that are calling it shaky now. Fuck you. Gunn is a refugee from that universe. After writing and directing his final MCU movie, 2023's Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Superman, due July 11th, is the first feature film set in the new DCU and arguably one of the highest stakes movies ever made, though Gunn despises that framing. He's an unlikely studio exec to say at the least. He spent his early years trying every conceivable creative outlet, fronting bands, drawing alt weekly comic strips, acting, performing monologues in dive bars. He also got a Columbia MFA and published a raw, early aughts debut novel, The Toy Collector, finding a path to his true calling when Lloyd Kaufman, co founder of famed B movie purveyor Troma Entertainment, paid him $150 to write a screenplay for something called Tromeo and Juliet, which I have heard his days um, of that. And listen, James Gunn, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's the guy that when you meet him or if you know him, he's not an asshole. He's not going to go out of his way to be a douchebag to you. It's just that if I was his friend, I'd be like, dude, I feel like it's 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 Superman's James Gunn, not James Gunn's Superman. That's how the marketing feels. Um, it's very much of a self insert. I mean, this dude's putting himself into variant issues of comics. You see James Gunn on the cover with Superman. He put himself in an episode of Creature Commandos. Uh, yeah, and he's talking. And crypto is based off of his dog. It's very much. Oh, and not only that, but he wrote Jimmy Olsen in the new Superman movie. It's James Gunn seeing himself through the eyes of Jimmy Olsen. Like it's just weird. It's such a very self like it's a vanity project and you're using Superman as the platform. Um, I don't I don't want to know. I don't want a DC universe of the things James Gunn wants and likes. I want him to do the universe that the fans want and like. You know what I'm saying? Um, why are you starting off with Damian Wayne as Robin instead of Dick Grayson? All this stuff. It's decision making that is very questionable, and for the most part, I don't think fans want. If you're gonna assume that not everyone uh, wants the idea of Robert Pattinson's Batman with David Cornsweat's Superman, dude, then and if you don't think for a second that the majority of the fan base really hates your fucking vision, but because you're James Gunn and because it's the internet, we have to watch out now. You might be right. Everything James Gunn is perfect. Come on, fuck off. The DCU. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm blown away by it, but I'm really scared, man. I'm really scared. But anyway, let's continue. He was soon writing big budget movies from Scooby Doo to Dawn of the Dead and directing quirky films of his own, one of which caught Marvel's attention, landing him the first Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. With that film, he made himself an instant A-plus list director, forging a blockbuster from a deeply personal blend of left field humor, visual dexterity, and aching empathy for the oddest of characters, all scored with the Cosmos Greatest Mixtape. After the second movie in 2017, right wing trolls unearthed some of his edgy early tweets, and Marvel fired him. They soon changed their minds, but the temporary separation opened the door to his first film, DC film, Suicide Squad, and his current gig. In a glass case in the hallway of his shared office, which once belonged to Frank Sinatra, is a full Superman costume worn by the late Christopher Reeve. A Gene Hackman worn Lex Luthor bathrobe in its own case. In the spa-sized bathroom, Gunn sits on a couch with Superman and Aquaman action figures looming above him on a mantle. Jesus Christ. On the coffee table are various DC comics, among them one eyebrow raising anomaly, a copy of the first Marvel DC crossover project, 1976 Superman versus the Amazing Spider Man, the battle of the century. I remember looking at that through the book of how to draw the Marvel way. And I remember they had that cover. And I remember that was the first time I ever saw that cover. And I was like, holy shit. And then my brother briefly touched on that. Uh, but it was nothing groundbreaking for me or anything like that. I just thought it was cool to look at. Something that do I want to see that in a movie? No, I don't really care if they do or not, but it's not something I'm like looking forward to. But it shows like a script, like a sketch version of that, like of that cover as to the, you know, to the final version with the colors and all that stuff. It was pretty cool. Cool picture. Supergirl, which is out next year, is wrapping principal photography. How much were you on the set? Zero, very little. I mean, at the very beginning, but I've been pretty busy, as you might imagine. I was really involved at the script stage, but then director Craig uh, Gillespie has just seen a great, has just been such a great partner. He's just been doing his thing. You never know how something cuts together, but right now it looks amazing. It's really cool stuff. Yeah, of course. And you just took that. Never mind. That's no longer called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, correct? He says, I think it's just called Supergirl. Of course. I mean, like when he called it Superman Legacy at first, I thought, okay, just call it Superman, dude. Like we haven't had a movie called Superman yet, and then eventually they called it Superman, so it makes sense that they would do this. So, your Superman movie was first called Superman Legacy. We're touching on that, and now it's just Superman. He says, yeah, I'm always cutting Legacy. Was really do we do something called a premortem. A premortem is you get together with your groups that's doing the project. It's usually about a couple months before shooting, and you go hypothetically, if it's an epic disaster, what are the things that we are doing today that are going to cause it to be an epic disaster? Everyone here can speak freely. The things you find on other productions are the things that people are whispering. Oh God, I don't know why they cast that actor. He doesn't fit the role, or the production designer's never on time. One of the things I brought up was it was called Superman Legacy. Even though I was the one that gave it that title, I just wasn't sure. First of all, I'm sick of the superhero title colon other name thing. And then also it seemed to be looking back when we were looking forward, even though it does have to do with legacy in the movie itself. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, no, change it. Oh, I wish you can do that with the fans and not a fucking committee, and your corporate workspace. Anyway, it occurred to me that this particular version of Superman needed a certain version of you and a certain version of the audience. Could 2010 James Gunn have made this film? He says, I don't think the 2020 James could. Everybody knows I was offered Superman in 2018. They also talked to me about Batman earlier than that, but I was in the middle of Guardians 3. If they had come to me in 2018 with Batman, I would have said yes, but yeah, I just couldn't quite wrap my head around it. That would have been interesting. A James Gunn directed Batman, but would have been for the DCU, the DCEU version. So we would have seen Ben Affleck being directed by James Gunn, or would it be a different movie altogether? Would it be James Gunn's Batman or Batman's James Gunn? Who knows? He asks, what had to change? He says, I needed the right way in. And that required time to think through a few thousand options before I got to the way what I thought worked. But I do also think that my life and career has been a gradual softening of the edges. I still like black comedy. I still have edges, but I used to like provoking a lot. And today, although I still seem to do it, I don't really like doing that. In my heart, I'm pretty sentimental. Yeah, sure. I just believe in basic human values. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was a good starter kit for that. They all had a lot of heart. They all had a lot of heart, but they do have their own weirdness and oddities and edginess. And Superman isn't that, even though he does from the outside have a lot of oddness. A flying dog in a cape is odd. Giant walking robots and kaijus, that's all odd. But the very good nature of him, this really strong belief in what's right, sometimes perhaps to a fault, is what makes Superman who he is. And that is not Star Lord or Rocket. That's not a guy who's angry or covering up his emotions. He's pretty pure. And so getting the place where I could write that character was a journey. In the past, I would have done it through the making fun of the character. And I don't think that's what I do here. I'm less afraid now than I used to be. I allow myself to be purely creative more than I used to, and I thought I was being purely creative. But a lot of times it was just anger releasing itself in another way. I'm less afraid of being goofy or sentimental or boring or straight. Um, okay. Well, I guess I mean it certainly doesn't seem that way, James. It seems like you are not even dialing back on the goofiness of it all. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I've seen a bit of the movie, and there's a very grounded interview scene between Lois and Clark that seems like new territory for you. Yeah, this is a scene that he was bragging about. It's a 10-minute scene with Lois and Clark, and I'm like, a 10 fucking minute scene. Like, look, I want to see a scene with Lois and Clark, okay, as much as the next Superman fan, but I don't want to see 10 minutes of just constant, like, look how real we look and look how witty and quick witted we are and with our responses and all that. I just want characters, story, plot, you know, time, you know, I don't need a 10-minute scene with those two, okay? Especially if you're not feeling Lois Lane or that version of Clark Kent, who knows? There is a scene that's going around now, which is like 15 seconds of a 10-minute scene of Lois really just it's not challenging Clark. She's kind of verbally fucking abusing the dude, like just pestering the man, like just like basically treating him like he's a child. And yeah, I'm about to take another sip of water, like you are observing right now. But I'm going to be that guy that's talking into my bottle as I pour it slowly into my mouth. Let's observe. Okay. Uh, all right. So I've seen a bit of the movie. Ugh, just hit my mic, right? That was like the third time I did that. I've seen a bit of the movie, and there's a very grounded interview scene between Lois and Clark that seems like new territory for you. He says that's huge. That's a huge thing for me. I have long talking scenes in Guardians, but they are stuffed with jokes, and that's not the case here. There's funny stuff that happens in that scene, but it's all situational. And so allowing myself to write that scene, which is truly about two characters and the different ways they see the world and morality. So you would have had the impulse to make that more jokey. Yeah, horror movies and comedies are so comforting to a filmmaker because if they're working, the audience is reacting constantly, even like people crying at the end of Guardians 3. But it's also rather is a selfish thing as a filmmaker because I'm not making something that's so that I could sit in an audience and be happy. I'm making something that really works on a fundamental level. So I have to be willing to sit there with an audience and not know if they're liking it or not. After you temporarily got fired from Marvel for some old tweets, you've said a ton of friends reached out to you, and that for the first time in your life, you had a transformative experience of feeling truly loved. He says, "There's no doubt that without that experience, I don't think I would have written the Superman that I wrote. I definitely wouldn't be doing this job if I didn't get fired, but I don't know if I'd be doing this job even if it wasn't for that. I just don't think that a character that pure would have quite appealed to me." Yeah, because your tweets were they were pretty fucking crazy, dude. I mean, it's one thing saying, like, dude, it's crazy tweets. Uh, they involved, you know, children and sodomy. Yeah, it was a lot. But a lot of people will say, well, he was probably young back in that day, when he did those tweets. Okay, he was 42. Okay, 42 ain't that young. They said, how did that open the door? He says, I don't think that opened the door to me writing the pure Superman. That opened the door for me to stop creating so that people would like me. That opened the door for me to stop creating so that people would like me. I did read that. Right. Okay. That's downplaying it so people would love me. I think on some level, everything I had done came from a pleasing place. Tap dancing for the audience king of thing. Um, kind of thing. A tap dancing for the audience kind of thing. I can't fucking read today, folks. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, but that's how it goes. Okay, a tap dancing for the audience kind of thing. He says, that's exactly right, which came from the kid in a dysfunctional family trying to make everybody happy by dancing around. Literally, that's what my fucking career was. Not in total, but it was a neediness on my part, a need to be loved. And one of the most interesting things for me is my relationship with actors. How I got good at working with people like Chris Pratt is because he came in and I'm like, stop, you don't need to juggle. Same thing with John Cena. You just don't need to juggle for the audience to like you. You're a fucking movie star. You just be present, be yourself, and show that natural vulnerability that's a part of who you are as a human being. And that speaks to people. It's very true. Another, I'm James Gunn. I'm pretty cool. I'm the next Richard Donner. We should just call him James Donner because that's what he's trying to do with Superman. You know, I get it, dude. You found life, you got great, friends, you got a great support system, all that stuff. But you're really taking the character of Superman and you're taking all of the DC universe world that people love and people have existed longer than you have loved, and you're trying to redo everything. It's weird. It's really strange and really stupid. And it's also you're playing with fucking money. It's who said the quote? There's a lot of stupid people that are in charge of money. Huh. It's a very true quote. You agree with that quote, right? For those of you out there, let's agree. There's a lot of stupid people out there uh, who are in charge of a lot of money. It's true. It's a universal agreement, right? Okay. Donald Trump made that quote. Anyway, you agreed with him, but I do. It's a quote that it's very true. It's very true. It's very true. I mean, look fucking around you. Look what's happening. The proof is right there. The proof is in the numbers, and you can just do the homework yourself. It's there's a lot of stupid asses that are in charge of money. A lot of it. So, anyway, he's a Trump supporter. Fuck Donald Trump. So you were giving that advice, but not to yourself at that point. Really good at giving that advice, but not taking it to heart in a way that was transformative, which is what that moment gave to me. But again, I'm not perfect on the other side of it. It's not like I'm not still doing things to validate myself in some way. That's still a part of me being a fucking imperfect human being. But my basic life choices are not made according to that. Even you were initially worried about the idea of Rocket and Guardians. You said it would be like having Bugs Bunny with the Avengers. So clearly, audiences needed to evolve to accept a flying dog in a movie. You paved the way. You paved the fuck. He did not pave the way. There's people out there that are like, this is fucking dumb. Paving the way means after the movie comes out, everyone, people, including myself, who are cautiously optimistic, are sitting here telling you, dude, that was the best fucking thing out of the entire movie. Was crypto. That's right. Rocket made the world ready for crypto. Although, in a way, crypto is way more grounded than Rocket because crypto is simply a superpowered dog. He's just a poorly behaved dog, which is what my dog is. Which is what his dog is. He has to make sure that he has to let you know that he has a dog just like that. That's who he based crypto off of because he has a dog. You have to make sure that he has a dog because James Gunn has a dog. Guys, James Gunn, he has a dog. And guess what? James Gunn directed Superman. So he's really easy to fun and write. One of your big innovations here is the sci-fi Silver Age Superman stuff, robots, etc. That has never been in a live action film. Yeah, I think that's the biggest tonally novel thing about this film, and it really is based on the tone of the 2000 comic book series All Star Superman in a lot of ways. And taking that tone into a cinematic realm is not the usual thing for a superhero movie or for any movie. So I was really thinking a lot when making the film about graphic novels more than movies. Dude, everyone acts like, again, it goes back to like why everyone thinks that cracking Superman is so hard. I'm not sitting there saying you're not a fan. You know enough, but Superman ain't hard to write. Okay? Like, come on. All right. Let me let me give you guys here a little tiny 10-second break here. While I go do this real quick. Just give me 2 seconds. I have to update this little thingy here. Ah, aha. All right. Sorry, I had to go hit the lights. It's getting dark in here. All right. Fantastic Four is coming around the same time as Superman and seems to share that Silver Age optimistic feel. It's interesting, given the weird times in the world right now, that seems to be the right vibe. Maybe. Okay. So, first and foremost, oh gosh, we are living in the times right now, and I'm only going to say this once. Um, this movie, Fantastic Four. A lot of the media are going to act like everything that's coming out right now is in a response to Trump, as a response to Biden, is a response to everything that's happened now. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want your movie or your story to tell you what to think. Okay, you want stories, you want um, movies, television, all of that stuff to make you think about things. Okay, you can. It's everything's open to interpretation. So when everything is like this is politically based, this is all going to be like truth, justice, and the American way was Superman's quote. But for this film, on the back of the toy, it's truth, justice, and the human way. Superman's a fucking alien. Okay, Superman's an alien. There is nothing wrong with loving your country. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your country. There's nothing wrong with waving the American flag, your own flag of the country that you are sitting your ass in right now. Okay, unless you're watching this and you're in Europe. Hey, Europe, what's going on? That's cool. Hey. But if you love your country, okay, there's nothing wrong with it. I've gotten a lot of shit when I talked about Michael Bay, which was debunked, by the way. But Michael Bay supposedly wanting to direct A Man of Steel 2. And I talked about how Michael Bay's signature American flags always waving around in the background. I think that would be great with Superman and, in the forefront. This guy, why not? He's got the colors there. Okay. He's just one color away from being the American flag. So why not? In the Superman comics, American flags, he's an American made character. There's nothing wrong with being patriotic. There's nothing wrong with loving your country. Okay. So when people say, well, it's associating with your love for MAGA and Trump because it's a Republican Party thing now, fuck Trump, fuck Biden, fuck all of your Democrats, and fuck all of your Republicans, fuck all of it. All right. And fuck all of the fucking political shift, that everyone is trying to make. Oh, well, uh, they're trying to make this, for the audience, for the less than for people to feel like they're inclusive. Fuck inclusivity. All of that shit is fucking garbage to me. Okay, just make good stories. Make good stories, and don't be afraid of making a comic book story. Don't be afraid of making a comic book character in a comic book world. Don't be afraid of loving your country, because loving your country doesn't mean you're a racist. It doesn't mean that you're a bigot of any kind. It doesn't mean that you're anti-gay. It doesn't mean that you're anti-straight. It doesn't mean that you're anti-anything. It doesn't mean shit. It just means you love the fucking country that you're in, because we could get away with more shit than, let's say, the Middle East. Okay, so be proud, be excited. It's okay. You could be gay and you can love your country. You could be black and love your country. You could be white and love your country. You could love Superman because he is an American icon. Okay, it doesn't devalue the character if it's truth, justice, in the American way. You know, the people who say that it does, you know, the people who say that, the American way is too old fashioned. You know, people who say that, you know what they are? They're fucking not fans. Okay. They're not fans. They're fans of winning arguments on the internet. So when DC and Warner Brothers and James fucking Gunn is catering to the less than 1% of the audience, okay, that's the non-fans. Okay. You're pleasing them. You're not pleasing the people who have shit like this sitting on their fucking shelf. Okay? I mean, let's be honest. All right? Henry's had enough. He's drunk. Truth, justice, and the human way. Superman's not fucking human. You fucking retards. Truth, justice, and the human way. Like, what the hell does that even mean in the human way? Fuck it out of here with your fucking bullshit, man. Your bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. All right. Let's continue this, shall we? All right. Fantastic Four is coming around the same time as Superman and seems to share that Silver Age optimistic feel. It's interesting, given weird times in the world right now, that seems to be the right vibe. They wouldn't say this if Biden was in office, but whatever. Maybe. But do you really think they're alike? I'm really embracing the Silver Age of it all, but I don't think that it's stylized, or at least not stylized in the same way. And it's also not as retro. There are retro futuristic aspects because we've got Daily Planet with a big fucking globe, which I'm sure he's always wanted, a big fucking globe, as he describes it. Because saying the F word is cool now. This guy says the F word like he just discovered the F word. It's like hearing a kid. And the robots, the machinery. So I could see where there's certain similarities. On a story level, what cracked Superman for you? He says, okay, it was Crypto. The beginning of the movie is the first thing I wrote, with Crypto coming to Superman in the snow and Crypto taking him home. That really was about the tone of the whole movie. Okay, so the movie that you wanted to make was about Superman being defeated and a dog saving him. Great. It's a flying dog who wears a cape, but that led immediately to the robots, to the fortress rising from the ground, to the device that isn't in the comics. The giant magnifying glass, which powers him up more quickly than just the regular sun would. Bringing all those elements into a Superman movie in a way that hasn't happened. Not to mention that he exists in a world where superheroes or some form of metahumans have existed for 300 years. It's just a different thing. Um, 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 okay. And one of the most interesting things for me is my really. Oh wait, what? What? This website just went. Okay. Eddie Murphy once told me that nearly every bad movie happens because of Hollywood's habit of setting a production date before they have a finished screenplay. He goes on, and this is where things get interesting. All right, guys, listen. This is where things get interesting, okay? Because he practically says that Marvel is dead at this point. A guy who used to work for Marvel Comics or Marvel Studios. You know what I'm trying to say. He says, "Yeah, totally. Listen, you could do everything right and make a bad movie. I'm really compassionate towards people that put their all into a movie. I know some people that were my former workers at Marvel, people who made some of the worst movies. There were people that were lazy and didn't put their time in. And then there were other directors that worked really hard and maybe didn't have the best movie come out, but they did everything they could. But I do believe that the reason why the movie industry is dying is not because of people not wanting to see movies. It's not because of home screens getting so good. S- that was a weird thing to say. The number one reason is because people are making movies without a finished screenplay. This is the thing that happens. He is right about that. Avengers Doomsday. And that's one of the biggest rules you've made for DC, that they have to be finished scripts. Yeah, we just killed the project. Everyone wanted to make the movie. It was greenlit, ready to go. Oh yeah, it was the Amanda Waller thing. The thing that they all thought everyone gave a fuck about Amanda Waller. We don't care about Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller was at the time in 2015 when we knew we were going to see her in Suicide Squad. We were like, oh, that's cool, nice little appearance, but we don't want to see a movie about her or a show about her. She's a cool character to have snippets of, but nobody cares about Amanda Waller, especially today when it comes off as very, very like, I don't know, pandering. The screenplay wasn't ready, and I couldn't do a movie where the screenplay is not good. And we've been really lucky so far because Supergirl's script was so fucking good off the bat. And then Lanterns came in, and the script was so fucking good. The dude says fuck like he just discovered the word like a child. Clayface, same thing. So fucking good. So we have these scripts that we've been I swear to God he's saying this, not me. So we have these scripts that we've been really lucky with or wise in our choices or whatever the combination is. You've written hundreds of pages of material recently between the Creature Commandos animated show, which he put himself in, Peacemaker season 2, which doesn't look good, and Superman. Do you ever worry about exhausting the well? He says, if I do, then I'll go raise goats. I really am fine. There's a lot of directors who get worse as they get older, and I don't want to do that. Or maybe I do. I don't know. It's like if it runs out, it hasn't so far, but who knows? Superman. Superman. Oh, God, I hope this movie's great. You said you feel like you were able to be creative without fear now, but at the same time, you gave yourself permission to be pretty creative from early on. You were working in all of these different mediums. He says, I had comic strips published everywhere. That was really what I was going to do when I was younger. I wanted to be like Berkeley, breathe from Bloom County. Although I was also really playing music at the same time. So who knows? I wanted to be a rock star, but at the same time, I like the idea of having my characters on bed sheets and stuff. I just was searching for a way to be noticed and to make money. Oh, he's getting noticed, all right. He's putting himself in all of his projects. Um, I really wanted to make a living as an artist, and then of course I wanted to be famous and all of those things. So I was really just trying whatever. And for me, the whole secret was finishing whatever I started. It did feel like I had a bunch of half projects out there until I was in my mid 20s. Was that linked to getting sober, you finishing projects? He says, no, that was sort of a faith thing. When I was in school for writing, I had 51 first chapters of novels. And then at a certain point, I just had the realization, which was in the form of spiritual awakening, which was just to finish what you start. Hey, look, another picture to remind us that James Gunn is directing Superman. Okay. You had that revelation while you were ghostwriting a book with Troma Studios co-founder Lloyd Kaufman, right? That's exactly what it was. I was writing the book for Lloyd, and I wanted to quit because it was fucking killing me. Every time this guy says the F word, I should take a shot, but I won't. I say the F word a lot too. Fuck. Anyway, fuck. I did have a small ego, and I felt like I was doing a lot of things for Troma, and I didn't feel like I was getting any respect for it. And now I'm ghostwriting something that I thought was hilarious. And the more I was writing it, the funnier I thought I was, the more resentful I was becoming. All right. So let's skip to, because this is about some of his stuff with Troma. But there is a piece here that I wanted to share. Okay. Well, one of them is this, actually, now that I came across it. It says, in the Superman trailer, we see that Lois already knows Clark is Superman. So you bypass one of the stickiest issues. How does Lois not see past the glasses? He says it comes up later in the movie and it's explained. She says it. We mention it and it's a one off and people chuckle. But there's stuff later in the movie about the glasses that are canon. That's canon in the comics. Um, there's a controversial 70s issue in the comic book where it shows that Superman basically uses super hypnotism to change people's perception of him in the glasses. It was an idea sent in by a fan, has been mostly ignored since. And James Gunn says something like that. I only know it from the DC comic writer Tom King. Tom King is a shit writer. He is actually the one who wrote the Supergirl book that they are adapting from. So, yeah, Tom King sucks. I don't like Tom King. I think he's a shit person. He's also a shit writer. He's more of a shit writer than well, he's more of a shit person. Yeah, they're basically going hand in hand. He's just dog shit. So the first time we met was at Peter Safran's house. We had this sort of writers group come in. He's a terrible fucking writer too, by the way. He's a terrible fucking writer, but whatever. If you like him, it's great. It's cool. I just don't. One of those people was Tom King, and he was the most helpful. I'm like, I just don't know how to fucking deal with the glasses thing because it bothers the fuck out of me. All that little stuff that people are like, it's a fantasy, just let it go. I'm like, no, I have to explain everything. Everything for me has to come from a place where I believe it. As outlandish as it is. With Rocket, I could not just make it a talking raccoon. It had to have a real foundation for where he came from and how he came to be. And I needed to believe that. Now, this is the part that made me think this could be problematic. What were some of the other things you felt you needed to explain to make this Superman work? Gunn says, there are things that I know I don't explain that I don't even want to say out loud. But I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things. Who would beat whom? Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever. Adam Warlock or Brightburn. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Dude, these are conversations that nerds have. You fucking pretentious cocksucker. I can't stand James Gunn sometimes because of shit like this. And this is what I'm talking about. It's because everyone in Hollywood acts like nerds don't exist all of a sudden. Who the fuck are you making these movies for? People have conversations like this. People talk about things like this. Okay, James Gunn, 8 years, dude. Talk about being out of touch. Uh, People have these conversations, and guess what? It's fun to have those conversations. Okay, the what ifs and stuff. You know why? Because it opens up imagination, opens up doors for creative thoughts, ideas. That also bred fucking comic book writers, that you fucking read and love, that you have sitting out on your fucking coffee table and shit at Warner Brothers. Okay. Those people, okay, have those conversations. That breeds inspiration, creativity, stories. Uh, it's fucking stupid. The stupidest fucking conversation. God damn. This is why I fucking can't stand Hollywood. It's because of shit like this. But then you've got podcasters out there like Comic Con's podcasts and shit like that, and you're fucking, your colliders going like, "Oh, he's just the man knows what he's talking about." All right, don't be a hater. Fuck you. This dude just basically just called all of us fucking stupid for us having conversations. Like these podcasts have conversations like this, calling you fucking stupid. Y'all are the same ones that deify this guy because he made 3 great Marvel movies. Like I said, this movie better fucking blow everyone away. Better blow the socks off of everyone in that fucking auditorium. Which I think it'll do okay. It'll do a hell of a lot better than the Fantastic Four. The fantastic the Fantastic Four. Okay. Like so, then whoever would win this fight means that they are the best. Because I'll just go out and write God, man, who can destroy you with a wink, and I win. This guy sounds great at parties. I win all the fights forever. Yeah, apparently with stupid fucking responses like that. But I didn't want a Superman who could punch planets. Superman doesn't fucking punch. Oh, fuck this guy. Creatively, fuck this guy. Personally, he's all right, but he's also an idiot, and I wouldn't trust him with directions to the bathroom. And also, we are creating a whole universe now. So, what's a girl with wings gonna do in the face of that? So he's a little less powerful. Guy Gardner's pretty fucking powerful. They're all pretty fucking powerful. Oh god. And it, you know what? This article just goes on and on. It's about him. I mean, it's a good read, but it's also when it comes to Superman, and things like this, like he's so out of touch with his audience, apparently, if this is what he's saying. Um, there are people who have been saying the whole future of the studio might be riding on this movie. How do you work in the face of that kind of pressure? Okay, before we go on with that answer, this movie needs to be successful. It cannot just do mediocre money to keep the genre going. Um, so this is the answer he gives. Really, I just go, that's their business because that's not the truth for me. My truth is this is the first movie out of DC Studios. Other people may say it's got to be a home run, nothing else. I'm like, no, I'd be very happy with a double fucking iron, with a double. I'd be very happy with a double. Fucking Iron Man wasn't the be all and end all. Listen to this sentence here, guys. Fucking Iron Man wasn't the be all and end all. It wasn't Avatar. We are doing something that's the piece of the puzzle. It's not the puzzle itself. Dude, Iron Man was a smash hit. Smash hit. Again, James Gunn's an idiot. He's an idiot. Okay? Just because he directed your favorite fucking movie and wrote all these great things doesn't mean that he has intellect. There's a difference. You could be good at something and you could be stupid. Okay? You could be good in bed, but you can have the worst intellect. Okay? But you're really good in bed, but you have the worst intellect. You could be really good at being a teacher of science, but you could be also really fucking stupid. Okay? He's a director. He makes pretend. It's not far fetched to think that that same person's a fucking idiot who would say stupid ass shit, but makes really cool movies. Iron Man was a smash hit. I don't know what he's talking about. Iron Man paved the way and laid the groundwork that is amazing today. Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about. The be all end all wasn't the be all and dude. The fact that you're not, no, I swear I didn't do cocaine. I swear it's just this fucking allergies here. Um, dude, if you um all I gotta say is Superman needs to be a hit. It needs to be a hit. When people are when he's saying like, oh, it's gotta be he's ridiculing people that are saying it's gotta be a home run. It has to be a home run, dude. You don't fucking understand. It has to be a home run. I get it. You want to be the cool guy. You want to be the Fonzie of Hollywood and sit there next to the jukebox, kicking the Coke machine and getting that bottle. You know, you want to just flip your fucking collar and sit there and go, I'm cool, man. I ain't nervous about a thing. I ain't about no thing. Okay. Yeah. Guess what? You're fucked because there are no Fonzies in Hollywood. All right. You're fucked. If this movie does not do well, you, DC, the DC universe, Peter Safran will all go down as the laughing stocks from time from for years to come. The guys who switched off the DCEU because rightfully so, it did need some sort of a shift, but you guys were so adamant and so sure of yourselves. You pull the rug from underneath Henry Cavill after you wanted him to make an announcement that he was coming back, only to make an announcement that he got fired. And then this movie fails financially, pulls a Thunderbolts level of failure. I do think it will do leaps and bounds better than the Thunderbolts, but will it do better than Man of Steel globally? That's the question. Or will it just be just about the same? Because right now we live in a time where we're not getting billion-dollar films because people are not going to the movies. Despite what James Gunn says about scripts and shit, okay, that's one problem, but there's also another problem. People are not going to the movies. So word of mouth is now the new review out there these days. It's not Rotten fucking Tomatoes. It's not going to your favorite YouTuber, and looking at a comedian who's trying to be funny by giving a movie review and not getting the fucking point after 8 minutes of a review. You're not. You're getting word of mouth. Word of mouth. Once the movie's out, how people react? Will people tell you to go see it? Well, word of mouth. Get people. Word of mouth is what got Sinners to be successful. Okay. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Sinners would not be as successful as it is today. Okay. I don't care what you say, it just won't. All right. We live in a different climate today in the movie going age. It's all about word of mouth. If Superman doesn't do, Superman will be making a shit ton of money on its first weekend. Guarantee that. Guarantee that. But one weekend doesn't determine your legacy as far as the box office goes. Okay, and that's for every movie. It's not just for Superman. But with this film, you've got the marketing that's going insanely crazy, and I like it. It's getting me into it. Look, I'm looking at the things that I don't like that I see in the trailers, especially in that god awful last trailer that we had. But I'm looking at it like this is probably the worst marketing. But there's something telling me that this movie might be really fucking good. I hope that's the case. But word of mouth is now your go-to review. It is. Okay. The movie comes out, people talk about it, people will go see it. People will go see it, and then the word of mouth will make that will determine that movie's success. It's not going to be the name anymore. We don't live in a time where we see Superman on a poster and we're like, "Oh my god, we're in." Those days are gone. Gone are the days we see a Batman logo on a movie poster and we're like, "Oh my god, we're in." No, we're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. I've lived in a lifetime where we've gotten many Supermans. There was a point in my lifetime where Batman was still special and exclusive. He's not anymore. We're gonna get two cinematic Batmans for fuck's sake. That's dumb. This movie needs to be great. James Gunn has zero clue on what he's talking about. And and listen, I don't think maybe he is this stupid, maybe not, but um and like I said, maybe he is trying to be the Fonzie of Hollywood, sitting by that jukebox machine and acting like, the success ain't gonna bother me. That's not the truth for me. Okay. Either you're very confident or you're very fucking stupid. Anyway, but that's enough of that. That is enough of that, folks. That is just, yeah. So that's James Gunn for you right there. It's the most he's talked about the movie in a long time, I guess, since announcing the movie or talking about his dog for the 15th time or his cat. A very long post. I don't know. It's just he does. I look, James Gunn. I'm sure you're a great guy. Uh, I'm sure that he's Superman's going to be interesting to see. I really want this to be good. I really want this to be good. Um, I really want this to be good. It's fucking Superman. We're getting a Superman movie, and I'm like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm more so hyped now than I was, let's say, 2 months ago, despite that we got a really bad trailer like 2 weeks ago. But all of the popcorn boxes and all of this stuff and people talking about it, I think it's seeing like what it's doing for kids, like my son. watching the Superman trailer, despite that I'm like, Crypto the dog, I dig it, but there's so much that could go so wrong with that, and my nitpicky brain and all that shit went out the window once I see my kid light up watching that trailer. He has no clue what he's looking at, but whatever he's looking at, he loves it. And I hope that's what this movie does for me as an adult and for many fans out there, not just for kids, but Superman is as a character that he embodies hope, man. And we need that kind of movie today. We need that kind of movie today. And it's not because of the political climate. It could be because of that, but it's not because, of who's running office. It's not because of that. It's because how everyone is so fucking divided with everything. It's one of those aspects, that we need something like this today to kind of inspire people to kind of get their head out of their asses. Man of Steel was not the movie to do that, and Zack Snyder didn't set out to make that movie. Man of Steel was a different entity, and I loved it. It was criminally underrated. Yes, there are a few stupid things in it, but as a whole, I think it's a movie that there's a lot of good that outweighs some of the stupid. I enjoy it for what it is. I wasn't looking for a Richard Donner, John Williams, uh, the shadow of a John Williams and Richard Donner film. I wanted to watch a Superman story that was unique, and that's what I got. And it seems that a lot of people didn't like it, and that's fine. Um, I just don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. But like I said, I hope it's good. And I think it will do better than the Fantastic Four, far better than Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, I was my interest was like peaked a little bit. I was like, this looks interesting. I like the aesthetic. I like the look of it. Pedro Pascal, oof. Silver Surfer, oof. Sue Storm, learning about the plot, oof, oof, oof. It's all dog shit now. Superman is gonna Superman's gonna is gonna crush the Fantastic Four. Bet money. However, if you were to really ask me if you wanted me to be a betting person, okay, if we were in Vegas, which I am, it was a stupid thing. If I was in Vegas, wait, I am, um, and I was betting, I would say Jurassic Park. Stupid fucking idiot dinosaurs are gonna rule the box office. I think it will make more money than Superman. I think it'll make more money than the Fantastic Four. The last movie was god awful dog shit, and it made $1 billion. These movies tend to be dog shit and still make $1 billion. It's like the Transformers films. I don't get it, but people go out and see these films. They're also safe. Dinosaurs. Everyone loves dinosaurs. If a kid's not into superheroes yet, they definitely fucking love dinosaurs. Um, I'm sure this movie's gonna make a ton of money. I'd be surprised if it didn't. That's just how it goes. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Bond, James Bond. 007. Let's end the show with this because now, look, I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers that's like, like those pretentious idiots out there. It's like, um, I don't post anything that's not sourceable. If it's not a good source, I'm not going to post it. Listen, scoops. I almost said spooks. Scoops and rumors are fun. You know why? Because they make you speculate. And there was a time when fake rumors and speculation influenced writers and studio heads to come up with ideas. And there was a whole point in like 2008, 2011. I remember when people were coming out going like, "Wait a minute, that was my idea." Yeah, you didn't claim it. So a couple of fucking screenwriters in Hollywood caught wind of those things, and they made movies out of them. Anyway, there's a whole thing about that. You can look that up. Um, but I don't mind. I don't mind. It just it brings it brings discussion. It really does. And it's fun to speculate. So I think those people out there, they're like your Campias out there. I don't like to bring, talk about those things. Yeah, let's talk about what you want, Campia. But it's fun to talk about those things because it's speculations. It's fucking it's guys. It's make believe. It's nothing to take serious. Okay. I just don't want arguments and all this stuff. Okay, well, if it gets political, it gets political. I don't fucking care. I'm not the one making it political. They are. People in the comment section want to fight. Let them fight. Unless there was some hate shit being spewed around and all that stuff. And yeah, don't don't fuck with my page, bro. Anyway, okay, let's talk about this. Yeah. Okay. So, first and foremost, I'm going to just I got to shut this shit down the best I can, okay? Um just because you don't want a black James Bond, and if you're a person with white skin color, okay, if you're a non-black, a non-Hispanic, whatever, and you're white, you're just good old Jimmy Smith white, okay? And you say, man, I don't want a black Bond. I want a white Englishman, James Bond. That does not make you a racist, okay? It does not, because James Bond is white. Ian Fleming wrote James Bond, who's white, a relic of the Cold War, who's white. Um, he's a character who's white, and being white is not what makes it. It's not like that's what he's about, but he's white, and that's a character who was established as a white man. He was a white man. He's been a white man, and keep it as a white man. There's nothing racist about what you loved about the character and the source material. Okay, these are the same people, okay, that call you a racist, okay, and they will say this shit to you. You ready for this one? Well, why does it matter if he's black? Okay. Well, if by that logic, if you're asking me why does it matter, then why the fuck change his skin color in the first place if it doesn't matter? Fuck you. So, James Bond is white. James Bond has to be white. But you've got people out there on the internet out there that are going to look like, oh, if I say this, I'm going to look like I'm Glory Gold and be the white savior. And of course, it's those working actors that they claim that they're actors in Hollywood, but they spend their time on X talking about fans, on how fans are just being fans and how they have these discussions by being fans. Um, Wanting a uh, Black Panther, okay, uh, who who is going to turn white. Uh, what do you got to say? Like, what's your argument for that? Let's get on. Let's make Black Panther white then. Okay, fuck you. So again, there's this double standard in Hollywood. Okay, that if you take James Bond, an established white Englishman, you make him black. If you say something, oh, you're a bigot. Okay, well then let's play that same game with Black Panther. Let's make him white. What the fuck you got to say now? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Fuck you. So again, there's nothing racist or wrong in the slightest bit about wanting the character that you loved stay true and stay the same. If you want something groundbreaking or different, make this guy 006. Oh wait, that was GoldenEye. So make him 008. Make him 009. Make him a different spy. Do something. Have him in the film. But that's assuming if this rumor is true, because this source right here is like 50-50 bullshit. And then the other 50% is kind of half bullshit and maybe some true. But it's all bullshit. Scoops, rumors, all of that stuff. It's nothing to take serious, but it causes for great discussion because this shit right here, okay, this Aaron Pierre rumor here about being the next James Bond, this is going to happen. May not be this guy, but it's going to be some other guy. Okay. So yeah, this is made from a corporation. This is a corporate idea. This is something that is just it's absolutely fucking false. And listen, I'm not going to watch. I don't care if they're going to go in this direction. Amazon is going to take 007 and turn it into weird direction. They're doing everything that the Broccolis didn't want to do. So I just don't care. I've got films of 007 history. Everything pretty much after Casino Royale just fell flat for me. Yeah, Skyfall is very much loved because it's Skyfall. It's got a great song and it's got the most basic fucking story and it's so predictable. Um yeah, it's a safe one. But it's just it's not a good movie. It's not. Skyfall kind of sucks. Casino Royale was great, and that's like the only Daniel Craig Bond film that I can enjoy from beginning to end. Everything else is like this Bond sucks. But yeah, listen, um, Bond should be a period piece. It should be a period piece that's set in the '60s. Um, very heavy Ian Fleming. Don't dial back on it and just have Henry Cavill star as your title character. I don't know what the fuck Hollywood is on. I don't know why they're all retarded. But it's like they just don't see Henry Cavill. You know, either that or Henry Cavill's agent really fucking sucks. Um, but there's your James Bond. You're sitting on that, and you're gonna get this fucking guy right here, who's he's a very good looking man. Those Jesus Christ, those fucking eyes. Oh my god, he's like a young Idris Elba. Anyway, but yes, no, not this. Just it screams virtue signaling, and we are moving past that. We are moving past that. If you don't want your movie to be fucking dated, then just don't go by the 2020 playbook in Hollywood. But you're talking about Hollywood, so but not only that, but can you imagine Amazon getting a hold of Bond, which they do. If they do this, guarantee you're going to see like black version, a black remake, Black Bond, Doctor No, Black Bond, Goldfinger, Black Bond from Lush of Love. We're going to get those kinds of things. It's just it comes off so. It's going to be it's going to be one of those. They're going to remake a lot of the things that we all love about James Bond, and there's going to be like just blackface it. Like how progressive. We're so progressive. We're just gonna blackface everything. We're just take the white man's sloppy seconds. So progressive. Fuckers. And they call everyone else racist. Why? Because we challenge it. We challenge their their decisions by being honest. And they just don't like it. So it's like what? Like, don't sell yourself short, man. It's like Falcon becoming Captain America, which is weird to say Captain America because he ain't Captain America. He's fucking Captain Falcon. Falcon. You would took an original character, an original black character, okay, who could be easily the leader of the Avengers right now, or someone who works with the Avengers, a consultant, someone who is at a higher level um, because of their experience, with Steve Rogers and the Avengers. You took this character, you could have promoted him, but instead you dialed back and you regressed and you gave him the sloppy seconds of a white man. Wow, how progressive is that? I'm getting the fuck out of here anyway, guys. I am done with this live stream. I will be back possibly next week. Most likely I'll be back. Um there's lots of stuff happening always. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff. I will be back again this week, probably with some short little things from this episode. But guys, it's been fun, and I have fun doing this. I have fun discussing things with you guys. I don't get back to all of you, but I do see you. So please bear with me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And like I said, I will be back next week with more. Thank you so much, everyone. And you guys, please be safe. Till then, I'm out. Peace.